back in the tiller, baby, woo! Yes, we are back in a tiller. The tiller life lives on. We're doing another walkthrough. I know myself, when I'm, looking at a new product, new boat, new fishing rod, whatever it is, I love to consume as much content as possible to see what I'm getting myself into, to know the ins and outs. And in this video, we're going through a full walkthrough of the Alumacraft 185X Competitor. This is a 2026, and we've got it powered by the Mercury 150 Pro XS. So anyways, we got a lot of stats, a lot of stuff to go through. Hopefully we can sneak in a little fishing in the middle, but anyways, this is it. This boat is a beast. It might be the 185X, which you would think is 18.5 feet. It is actually 20 feet, 2 inches long. All right, we're starting. We're going to the back, starting with the outboard. What powers this beautiful boat? This is the 150 Pro XS by Mercury, 4-stroke. Love this. I had the 200 Pro XS on my older generation, 205 competitor tiller. Absolutely loved it. Now with the 185, they upped their ratings with this new series of boats, and now you can put a 150 on the back. Historically, it was a 90. And yeah, the 150 is definitely more than enough power, especially with a big load. We got 4 guys in the boat right now. I have a 19-inch inertia Mercury prop on the back there, stainless steel. It's a 3-blade prop. This big tiller handle is incredible. Power steering, it's hydraulic assisted. I did a lot of guiding over the years. Your arm gets fatigued when you're holding it, pressing it against your knee so it doesn't kick out. There's a time before where I thought it was a good idea to let go of the tiller handle, and I almost threw my guess out of the boat. There's a safety aspect to this as well. So when I have this turned on, you have to actually be on the handle to turn it. If I try pushing the arm of this, I cannot move the motor, but this little wrist right here, it has a little brake point in it right there. And when it feels tension left or right, you can steer it with one finger. It's pretty incredible. So you can be driving across the lake and you don't need to hold it in place. It's obviously just good to have your hand on it for safety issues, but if for some reason you have to take your hand off the handle and zip up your jacket or something, it's going to stay locked in. So I love that aspect to it. The trim in an amazing spot on your thumb, so really easy to get at. On the side here as well, you got your RPM adjustment if you're doing some trolling and you want to troll down a little bit slower. Adjustment for the tension on the throttle as well. All right, so that is it for the Mercury. The next talking point, and this is, I guess, one of the biggest talking points on the new Alumacrafts, or this new generation, is the X-Pods. It's these little stickouts in the back. It seems like such a simple thing. I don't know how someone didn't come up with it sooner, but the fact is your motor sticks out so far off the back. These X-Pods, they don't take up really any more extra space in your shop. So basically it sticks out approximately 16 inches, and that's what makes this a 20-foot, 2-inch boat. And it is so much extra real estate if you're fishing back here. If you're musky fishing, let's say you're guiding, I know a lot of musky guides like to be at the back of the boat. You've got room for, room for your pedal, you could put a graph or a shuttle on the side here as well in the Alumacraft system. But yeah, it's just a lot of space for more people. This boat is rated for 6 people, and you'd have no problem fishing 6 people out of here for walleyes. You've got this one storage compartment that's actually like in the X-Pod. It's for the power steering for the Mercury. If you didn't have a power steering unit, it would just be more storage. You could put some, safety gear, some tackle, whatever you want. Next access port here is just for, all the rigging, wiring, all that. If you are rigging these boats, you can really easily take these panels off. When I rigged this boat, I took this whole rear panel off, and it was really easy to access the rigging tubes and get at everything. It is called the Competitor. This boat is definitely rigged up to compete in tournaments if that's what you want to do. There's 2 modules that you can pick for the back. There's the Flex 50 and the Flex 29. So the Flex 50 is a 50-gallon live well. This is what I went with. It is absolutely massive. It is live well from end to end. You can fit a sturgeon in there. You can fit a muskie, a huge pike, lots of walleyes, whatever you need to put in your live well. I'm not saying you should put a muskie in your live well, but yeah, lots of storage. It's a lighted live well as well. But yeah, this is the Flex 50. And if you have the Flex 29, then this side is tackle storage and this side is live well. In this case, it's all live well, but it's big, it's beautiful, it can hold a lot of fish. All right, next going to the console, the command station. This was another thing they redesigned with this new series of competitors, and they went away with the analog gauges. Now every boat comes with this 7-inch Garmin in here, and that's what gives you your RPMs. It hooks up directly to the Mercury. You can tell your hours, when you need to do the oil change, all that stuff, and then as well your fuel gauge. So it's an EcoMap Ultra 2. It talks together with my other graphs, and in this case I just use it for 2D, or sometimes I'll use it for mapping, but it's nice that it comes included. And then going to the left side of the dash here, you've got built-in Bluetooth stereo connected to your phone. It also interfaces through the Garmin, so you can flip through your songs if you want to see and adjust. You don't have to use just this little Fusion dash. You can actually tie it through your Garmin. You've got 2 USB-A style ports, and then this little holder right here you can use for phones, for your wallet, just a nice little cubby to tuck stuff away. You've got tool holders down below. I love having tools accessible. Here you've got a locking door, and this is a little tray here. So this has extra cables, some tackle, whatever miscellaneous stuff that I want nearby, maybe sunscreen, stays in this little compartment. Then you've got your command station. It's nice and tight. It's easy to pull out if you need to rewire anything. But you've got your power, your lights, front and back live well, horn, bilge, and there's actually a couple LED lights on the back that come stock on this boat as well, so for a little lighting at nighttime. And then this switch right here is for the graphs. So actually how I have this switch wired in is for my DC to DC charger, which we're going to talk about shortly. So you got a cup holder down here on the side. You've got your switch for your live well, whether you're filling or emptying. This right here is where the antenna would be. I took it off. I normally use my phone if I'm listening to music in the boat, but that would be for if you're listening to the radio. All right, this is the workstation. These are my two big graphs in the back. And on my last boat, I had a mix between GPS Map series and EchoMap Ultra 2 series, which they do not communicate to each other. So in this boat, I wanted them all on the same series so they could talk to each other. The reason I run those GPS maps is for that HDMI out for screen recording for YouTube, so you guys can see the fish interacting, the fish strike, see what I see. But now with these new EchoMap Ultra 2s, the 16-inch versions have HDMI on the back. So that's why we have 16 inches across the map here. So we got two screens in the back. I guess this other one I count as a bonus, so I use it as, you know, maybe 2D. This one I'll use as mapping, this one on side view. But the 16-inch screens are beautiful. They fill this track beautifully. This is a TraxTech track that comes stock on these tillers. And yeah, there's a bunch of different mounting options. You can put your, you know, your Larmac with your HE Innovations shuttle. That's what I did for one shoot. In this case, this is called a lift and turn mount from TraxTech. So robust. They definitely beef this up in the back. Yeah, all right, so this is the compartment behind this one. I wouldn't use too much for storage. It's basically a lot of the rigging, a lot of the wiring. It's got these two little cutouts, and it's perfect for just a nice, clean rigging job. I do all this rigging myself, and I want to always make it as clean as possible. No loose, random wires, so they tuck in nicely. You could still stand and fish behind here. All right, moving under my feet. This is a battery compartment / you can get, you know, your eyes on the gas tank back here. This is my house battery, a DC to DC charger, and then since I don't have a second battery back here, you could use that for storage, for your boating safety kit, a little bit of tackle, whatever you want, close to you there. All right, last compartment in this side of the tour. This thing is an absolute beast, and it's the door is so big you can actually open it in sections if you want. So you can just open this back section if you want here, or you can keep that closed and then open this entire piece. This rod locker, storage compartment, whatever you want to call it, is gigantic. So just for reference, this is a 10-foot fly rod that we put in the side. So short of like if you have some surf fishing rod, you're gonna be able to fit any rods in this boat. So yeah, 10-foot fly rod. There's a couple tube inserts in the front. It's got a little rod rest in the back, the hydraulics to keep the door open. But yeah, you can keep tackle, life jackets. I got a bump board in here, but the amount of stuff you can just fit in the side compartment is pretty ridiculous. There's no shortage of storage. I think that's a very common theme in these Alumacraft tillers, is the amount of storage, how they maximize it. And you'll see a lot of these, I'd say 80% of the compartments on this boat are locking. So if you've got tackle and stuff, it's really easy to lock them up. Thinking about safety if you're in a place where, you know, theft is prevalent. All right, well, that is it for this part of the tour. We're gonna go rip around, maybe try to catch a fish or two, and then continue the tour at the front of the boat. All right, we're on the dance floor, moving further up the boat. This is why, well, one of the reasons why you pick a tiller is all of the space. You know, no console, no windshield. You've got so much room. If I was a hardcore angler, didn't take my family out, all I wanted was maximum fishability and as much space as possible, well then the tiller, it's got this huge dance floor. It's great for, you know, multi-species. You can run around and figure eight net fish and all that stuff. But then there's the trade-off. Sometimes when it's, you know, temperamental weather, I'm taking the family, the windshield is incredible. This space is amazing. So it's 98 inches for the beam width, which is incredible. This boat is so stable. Everybody can be on the same side of the boat. The gas port is up here now. 36-gallon gas tank. I've been running this for already my past trip plus this, and it's like not even half a tank. So the gas Tank is huge, it's great. All right, this is the main rod locker down the middle here. Obviously you've got that storage on the side that can hold 10-foot rods. I don't use that too much unless I have those extra long rods, but you've got 8 ports for rods. Right now I think I've got about 15 combos in here. If you use some rod stocks, you can fit 20, 25 combos in there, which is more than you need. 8-foot max. I think you can fit longer rods in there as well, but they've got this nice little tiered system here with the foam on it for where the rods and reel sit, so it doesn't scratch up your gear, and just another way that it's easier to fit more rods. Underneath is the battery tray, and we're actually going to cut to a separate little segment of me rigging the batteries in. We got some Norsk lithiums in here, and it's a little easier to show as I was setting the boat up. So we are going to cut to the batteries. Time for a battery install. The wires have been ran, from my reading, you know, as much as possible, direct wires from the graph to the battery. So that's what we're doing. These are the 4 batteries going in the Alumacraft Norsk lithium. We got the 12 volt 120. This we use for cranking, house battery, live well, horn, lights, all that stuff. Something cool about the cranking battery is if you drain it down to 25%, it goes into an emergency reserve mode, and it will not drop below 25%. You can engage that through the app, and then you can use it to turn over your engine. So if you ever forget a live well running, a bilge running, whatever, and you kill the battery, it will always have 25%, which is pretty awesome. Next, we got the 16 volt 135. A lot of electronics, you know, you can run a higher voltage than 12. So 16 is what we're running for 4 16-inch screens. Over here, we got 2 of the same battery. This is a 36 volt 60 amp hour. This is our trolling motor battery. So the Garmin Pro, it can run as a 24 volt or a 36. Obviously, we're running it as a 36. So we got these 2 batteries that we run in parallel. Gives you lots of juice, can get multiple days on a charge. But as well, it's actually got a 28 volt post, which I use for my black box. For the GLS 10 will accept 28 volts. So one battery will run one black box for one live scope. The next battery, another black box for if I had perspective mode in the front. And then I run these batteries in parallel. They handle the trolling motor. So one of my favorite features about this is the Guardian app. It's a Bluetooth app connected to your phone. You can do a bunch of stuff with it. You can turn these batteries into deep sleep mode. So for example, when I install them now, I'm gonna put them in deep sleep mode, which means I don't have to worry about anything popping, anything shorting, like it's asleep. So we're gonna hook everything up and then wake up the batteries. You can do the same thing in the winter time when you're putting them in storage. Turn the batteries off. You don't have to worry about any drain or draw over the winter. The app as well will show your runtime. So once I have the full system running and we're out on the lake, we can look and see based on all 4 screens being full brightness, how long the runtime is gonna be. With the trolling motor at 10, how long the runtime is gonna be. I had a situation where I ran into some motor issues, and I was able to check the app with my trolling motor battery, and it told me I could run on high for 2 hours, so I know I could make it back to shore for help. So it's little things like that that the app comes in so useful. If you're worried about, you know, a sketchy outlet at a cabin you're staying at or something, you're not sure if it was actually charging, you check the app and it will tell you. And then over into this box, we got all the electrical goodies. So this box actually comes with normally a panel on the front and the side, and I actually drilled the rivets out, popped it out. So that's where I ran a lot of the wires. We've got our 2 black boxes here for live scopes. I might end up adding a perspective mode in the front, so I put the black box in there now already. And then we've got the 2 Norsk chargers. We got the 1 2-bank 36 volt charger, and then we got a 3-bank 12/16 volt charger. So what I did with that, one charger is going on the 12 volt battery on the house battery, and then the other 2 16 volt banks are actually gonna be doubled up on the 16 volt battery, so it just charges twice as fast. Instead of one 10 amp charger, now we got 2 10 amp chargers, so 20 amps charging that, so it'll just charge it a little bit faster. One of the other accessories that I really like underneath here, the DC to DC charger. So what this will do right here is it will take the juice from the 12 volt and it will charge this 16 volt battery. So how this works is I actually tied it into my graph switch. So when this graph switch is turned on, it will charge the 16 volt battery. It does, I've noticed, you know, cause a little bit of interference on your screens. When I'm running across the lake, not fishing, I'll flip this switch. It'll start taking, you know, voltage from the 12, converting it and charging the 16. Obviously from the alternator, you're charging the 12. So often at the end of the day, my 12 volt battery is basically gonna be full from the alternator on the Mercury. And then as well, when I'm running and I got that graph switch turned on, the DC to DC is charging the 16. So there's days where, you know, my 16 volt battery is still close to full because whenever I'm running, I turn on the DC to DC charger and it keeps topping up my graph battery because that's the one, obviously, you don't want to lose your graphs middle of the day. So I love this accessory. This is something that, you know, spending all the money in the batteries, definitely should have the DC to DC charger on. I think that's pretty much it for battery talk. Other than that, what am I missing? These batteries have, you know, a built-in heater. So if for some reason the batteries are cold, instead of charging the batteries, it will use the first bit of juice, and it will actually warm up the battery to a safe state before it will charge it. I mean, it is an investment with lithium. I'm not gonna pretend it's not an investment, but you're shedding weight. It's about half the weight of a conventional lead acid and twice the runtime. Plus you're getting all that technology built in. So I absolutely love these batteries. I'm a nerd, and I love looking at the app and you know, checking on how things are and what the draw is. So anyways, we got some wires to hook up, and then we'll get back to this walkthrough video. All right, so that's the battery setup. Another thing Alumacraft added is a little shut off here on the side if you want to shut off power to your trolling motor batteries, but that is the rod locker. Once again, lockable. As I just showed, this is the charging compartment, plus where I keep the black boxes for the live scopes. On this side, once again, just a generic storage container. I keep tools in here. I got this Daiwa bag that just allows to, you know, throw a bunch of accessories, rod holders, measuring tapes, whatever in there. Beside it here, on the port side, you've got the cooler. It's got a drain in the bottom, which is really nice. Keep leeches, food, water, any other accessories. You can just pull the plug at the end of the day after the ice melts. All right, this is one of my favorite storage compartments in the boat. This big roto-molded tub. It is huge. It can fit, you know, easily all your tackle. I got probably 10 trays in here right now, and you could fit, yeah, 20 or 30. That roto-molded edge pushes up against that foam there, which makes a nice seal. It's got this foam matting on the bottom as well, help, you know, soften the blow when you're bouncing around. And then the other thing I like too is if you want, this is all foam on the top, so you can hook your baits in here if you just want one more spot to, you know, have quick access at some lures, or you got some wet lures you don't want to put away in the tray. So that's pretty convenient there. Once again, lockable. And then as far as pedestals go, you got one pedestal in the middle. If you want a butt seat, there's two more there for your passengers. All right, and then port side, you got your aft live well, 21 gallon. This one, I'm probably just gonna turn into storage. Often what I do is just put a plug in, close up the top, and I use it for more tackle storage, just because that back live well is so massive. So, and then the last container in the front here, this is another little roto-molded tub. This one I've got, you know, extra life jackets, safety gear, fire extinguisher, all those good things. All right, well, something that I think I don't talk about enough in these walkthrough videos is the actual ride of the boat. And it's tough to articulate that if you're not actually in the boat. So I would say if you have an opportunity at any sort of, you know, on the water dealer day, or if you can hire a guy that has the exact same boat, I think it's important to try driving the boat. Like for me, I was surprised at how different the ride was from this generation of Alumacraft from the previous. So, I mean, the big thing is the ProForm hull, that same 2XB hull, which is the double plated aluminum. It's got the X-Pods as part of that. It's got the curved gunnel for strength and stability, that signature look. And then it's also got the all aluminum transom, which I think is great. There's no, you know, wood to rot in the transom, right? So those are the big parts that make the hull. The nose definitely rides lower than the previous generation, which I love. It's increased visibility. It handles great. So anyways, try to get in one of these boats so you can actually feel how it handles, because that's, I think, a big part before buying a boat. Watching a walkthrough video is great, but to actually feel how it handles, how it drives. This boat is big and stable, and I love it. But one last thing I want to do, I sourced a couple questions off Instagram from you guys that you had about this boat. We'll fire through some of those, and then we will get back fishing and talk about the nose of the boat. Is the rod locker compartment large enough for a medium-sized child? Just grab a rod out of here. Oh! Yes, the answer is yes. What's your favorite mod you've done to your boat? I would say the DC to DC charger is one of my favorite like accessories that I added on. And I know we talked about it earlier, but just being able to flip a switch and charge up my electronics battery, because that's the one that often gets drained the most. So being able to top that battery up when I'm running is a very nice feature. Just bought my first tiller. How are you mounting your live scope to the transom? So I do get a lot of questions on how to mount transducers on the X-Pods. I've not mounted a transducer onto the X-Pod itself. I'll overlay a shot of, you know, the back transom of the boat. There is, you know, your normal spot to mount transducers. Yeah, so you definitely, like, they're strong back there. I've transom mounted the Talon on my windshield boat. But yeah, I don't know if I'll transom mount one necessarily. I think if I'm running around and wanting to do some quick searching, probably HD Innovations pole will go off the back. I don't think I'm gonna transom mount a LiveScope transducer on this one. How hard was it to get everything wired up? Well, that's a good question too. I think it's just a lot of planning. So I did some research online and found out, you know, what sort of wiring is recommended for this. I used 10 gauge marined wire, it's called. Doing the research and planning your poles, the rigging tubes make it very handy, but you know, passing ropes through and having a proper device to fish it through, all those things make it a lot easier. And just obviously the more boats you rig, the more comfortable you get with it. But if you want to get somebody else to do it, at least get them to talk you through exactly what they're doing. What kind of mount do you use for your big camera in the boat? That's good. We haven't really talked about this too much. I've got a few different mounting options for cameras. For GoPros, I put one 3M sticker on the top of the Mercury. I put one on top of the Garmin Force Pro there. All right, and one other feature that I haven't talked about is obviously the Alumacraft system. These are, you know, standard across all Alumacrafts. You can attach different tracks. So I have that standard track that I can put on here if I want to mount a shuttle. In this case, I can mount a camera mount. So this is one option to mount a big camera. So I use this RAM mount. This is a third-party Alumacraft adapter. I also have the EasyCam post. We'll overlay some B-roll of that, and that's another great mounting option for the bigger camera. It attaches to your seat post, and that is pretty solid on there. So I would trust my my Sony on top of that. The other thing that I really like, a feature that I haven't touched on yet, is the lights, the starboard and port light up in the front. They're actually kind of molded into the side of the boat, so you don't have to worry about putting the post in. That gives you more flexibility as well with where you put your graphs. In the past, I've been kind of handcuffed to where I would put the graphs based on that light going in the nose. You know, the green and red light at the front, it's just one flip of the switch and they're in all the time. So something I don't have to think about. Yeah, and then what tracking works for the HD LiveScope pole mounts? So you've seen the shuttle on the side of the boat. I'll add some footage of that. I have a little piece of track from Superior Fishing Products, which works really well. Any brand of track will work good, but I've had good luck with that Superior stuff, and it holds that shuttle securely on the side. Because I know these days a lot of people want to bring their own shuttle, so to have a little piece of track on the side is very handy for rod holders, for salties, for you know, your HD shuttle, whatever it might be. All right, one piece we forgot to test was the top speed, so we're gonna let you know right now. We are gonna drive a little more, and then we're gonna end this with some fishing and a little walkthrough of all the goodies at the front. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful golden walleye in the Alumacraft. It is time to talk about the nose of the boat. We had to break for a little bit of angling. All right, this is the nose. This is where there's been some changes. You know, one of the most notable changes is the Garmin Force Pro. And the reason why I wanted the Force Pro on here, this is, you know, I would say the Kraken is more of your deep V walleye style trolling motor. This, you see a lot more on the bass boats, the cable release to drop it in. It is a shorter shaft, so that is one thing to take in consideration when you're mounting on your boat. This is a 57-inch shaft, so the longest one they make in the Force Pro. I haven't had this in wicked weather yet, and to be completely honest, I don't really film or fish in wicked weather maybe as much as I used to. Maybe I'm getting softer, but so far this has been adequate for this boat. I will say if you're doing lots of Great Lakes and stuff, the motor may come out of the water, and then you've got the spy pole. So the reason why I wanted to switch with this boat to the Garmin Force Pro is it is compatible with the spy pole. So it's a new product from Garmin. Basically, it is a turret style system, a motor that allows you to run your transducer on its own. So it's got its own little dedicated pedal. There's different modes. I'm gonna do a full deep dive on a video yet. I'm still getting used to it. I will say that, you know, once again, if you're in big waves, your transducers will likely come out of the water. So that's something to keep in mind. So far, this has been good. And you know, you've got the mode of Spy Link where it links up with your trolling motor, and then you can obviously use the pedal to steer it on its own. You can set these functions. The other function I have set is called Spy Scan. So it'll actually scan left to right as I'm driving with the trolling motor. And then as well, when you anchor, the LiveScope can stay pointed to the direction you had it before with the heading sensor. That's pretty amazing, because in the past, you anchor and you lose the fish unless you've got, you know, your pole on the side. So definitely a cool add-on. I've only used it for 3 or 4 days of fishing, and I like it more than I expected. I think it's pretty amazing technology. The turret technology itself is not new, but the compatibility with Garmin, working together in that whole ecosystem, it's amazing. The functionality and how it can tie into your graphs and all works together. So I'm very excited about this whole setup and giving it a lot more use. So anyways, that drops down there. You can see there's quite a mess of cables. Once again, we got the Garmin EchoMap Ultra 2s. These are the 16-inch versions, so these all 4 are the same graph. They've all got HDMI. They're all networked together. I can do screen recording and all that good stuff. Historically, the competitors would ride a little bit nose higher, and that's something I was afraid of, is line of sight, because safety is a big deal when I'm sitting at the back of the tiller and being able to see over and see where I'm driving as the screens get bigger and all that. Something to keep in mind. These new boats, they do ride nose lower, so you are getting a better line of sight. Something else I thought about though was not putting this on a higher bracket. There are brackets you can get them to lift up and down. I just wanted it mounted rock solid. So this one, I didn't add any sort of extra bracket. I just mounted it right to the nose of the boat. And then this one, I mounted right to the flush mount panel. So you can flush mount a graph up to 12 inches on this nose. I had to offset them a little bit for the footprint of the Kraken Pro, but I really like how this came together. So this bottom screen, using for mapping / 360, or if I put perspective mode on there, and then the top screen I'm using for my LVS 34 for forward. Going down here, a little waterproof charging port, 2 USBs in there, which is great. I often use one for my phone and then one for the live scope recorder. The little bungee can hold your screen recorder, can hold your phone. I normally keep some forceps and pliers in here, the tool holder. Then you've got 2 ports on either side, which is a rod holder. You can put your butt in there and it just kind of keeps your rods tucked out of the way off to the side. And then you've got the trolling motor tray, which is a really nice addition when you're standing all day with one of these taller pedals. And if you don't have that tray, it's pretty tough on your joints and just being off balance all day. So being able to put into the tray is perfect. There's a hole there as well if you have a corded pedal and you want to tuck the cord underneath. They also obviously give you the little piece of carpet and floor there that flush mounts it if all of a sudden you're fishing at the back and you want the person at the front of the boat to have, the full floor. And then yeah, just beside it is where I keep the pedal for the spy pole. All right, that is almost it for the front. One last thing I want to do is just take these 4 screws out and take that flush mount off to show you what's underneath, because something else they think about is rigging the boat. So they've got new rigging tubes down the side, and just the access with taking this panel off is so beautiful. We'll do it right now just to show you. All right, so 4 screws, you open up the nose. This is a recent addition, this reinforcement, this bar in the middle here. This is all metal on top. That's important. These trolling motors keep getting bigger, more powerful, more torque, and you don't want the front to be flexing. So it does not flex. It is rock solid. It's amazing for mounting. Yeah, this 16-inch graph, it doesn't move at all. Trolling motor's rock solid. They have posts down here to hook up your trolling motor, a bunch of wires ran. I do the rigging myself, and I can appreciate the new rigging tubes and all those things they think about along the way. So easy access, big open area to work on. You could probably hide your live scope black boxes in there as well if you wanted to save space. But anyways, that's just something that from the rigging side, from my inner geek, I love how this nose worked out. Take it. He took it. He took it. It's big. Pretty big. This boat is a fish catching machine. Look at that. All right, that is a wrap on our Alumacraft 185X competitor tiller. The 150 Merc, it catches fish. Well, I think this is the fishiest boat yet. Just the way the rigging came together. Every boat, you learn a couple things, and we got a fishing machine. So I got to say huge thanks to Garmin, Alumacraft, Mercury, Norsk Lithium for helping put this rig together. We'll link all of it below. Thank you guys for watching, and wear your life jackets on the water. Let's be safe this summer. See you guys next time.